Shuffled. My memories of exactly what happened that night and when are hard to sort out. I remember some extremely enthusiastic dart playing and four tall amber pint glasses that magically never seem to empty. Ian orders a small tray of shots for the table, and I hear someone's glass shattering across the bar. Ian and Monty ramble about some old music festival nobody but them has ever heard of, as Vern tries not to stare at the bottle blonde hovering just behind my shoulder. As Vern talks, I can see his eyes darting back and forth from the pair of tits to my smiling red tomato face. Whatever he's talking about, I couldn't agree with him more. "Do you dance?" Ian interrupts, almost lunging across the table so I can hear the question. He is so close that I can feel his breath, which is hot and bitter like chewing tobacco. I'm thinking of line dancing in the Edison Middle School gym, moving in and out of the strange outlined hieroglyphics painted over the hardwood floor. I'm thinking of all the boys in our grade, most of whom have yet to experience their first kiss, suddenly being randomly assigned a similarly aged girl to dip, twirl, and dazzle. The warm comfort food feeling of gently placing one's hand above someone's hip in an age-old ritual just as silly as it is vital. All I can offer Ian in response is an optimistic-looking shrug. "Maybe's a whole lot better than no," Ian assures me, and the next thing I know, everything gets shuffled. At the absolute zenith of our evening, after a full night of beautiful chaos, we stumble into a 7-Eleven like a family of confused deer. Our greedy, groping hands touch almost everything we see, and I laugh at my funhouse mirror reflection on the glass drink cooler doors. Rejoining our gang near the back of the store, we descend upon the Slurpee machine like hyenas. A liquid neon sugar slurry oozes slowly into our massive empty plastic cups, and my mouth waters as I struggle to match the lid. Between the four of us, we ended up grabbing around 4,000 straws. Stumbling to the counter, a young man in a turban seems unfazed as he makes change. It seems like we're going to get out of this whole situation consequence-free, until what looks like the cashier's father bursts from his office. Before we could even see him, we could hear him yelling in a language none of us could understand. Blah, 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 blah. "Motherfuckers! Blah, 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 blah. Store! Blah, 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 blah. Out! Out! Out!" The Mario-looking man yelled at us from behind the counter. "Well, maybe we will!" Ian roared to our collective delight. "Have a great night!" Ian shouted with sincere enthusiasm, which only upset the owner even more. As we made our way out to the store's front doors, he was making his way out from behind the counter. We filed back into the van quickly, giggling like schoolgirls in evading capture. As we pull out of the parking lot and deeper into downtown, I can see the two clerks arguing behind us, right out front of the store. Father and son, screaming at each other. As the store disappeared behind us, I felt almost superhuman, full of energy. We seemed to be going nowhere at all, but I was always good at being shuffled. Parking the van next to a small strip mall of entirely closed businesses, I step out of the van feeling groggy and confused. The confusion lingers for a few moments longer as I turn around to see the small line of people across the street. They seem to be filing into an old industrial building, adorned with baby blue accent lights and antique-looking red velvet dividers. Instead of joining the line once we've crossed the street, Ian moves us toward the back of the building. We arrive at the loading dock, and Monty slaps hands with the two men hauling out milk crates filled with bottles. With a double set of thumbs up for their help, Ian pushes us through the back entrance and down some long, decor-free hallway. Moving through the double doors marked staff only, we almost knocked over a young waitress on our way to the kitchen. Through the walls, I can hear muffled house music blasting from every speaker. For some unknown reason, the closer we get to the music, the more excited I feel. When the doors finally opened, revealing the very center of the club, I was instantly overwhelmed. 1,000 different colored lights whirl and dance across the warehouse-sized party, and waves of people crash into each other in time with the deafeningly loud music. The whole room smells of sweat and perfume, of cheap sex and good company. In the face of this, I feel small and intimidated for the first time since Monty's magic MDMA. Oblivious to my anxiety, Vern pulls me into the pit. One green apple flavored pill from Monty's magic bag later, I'm dancing, sweating, laughing, and surrounded by people. I feel like a red-hot molecule bouncing around wildly, occasionally colliding and dancing with whoever happens to be closest. There is a nudist colony sort of community that comes with total surrender to the music and the drugs, and I'm basking in it greedily. I'm only brought back to reality when Monty grabs one of my shoulders and turns me around. "My bag! I can't find my fucking bag!" he shouts, looking frantic. "Are you sure it's not in the van?" I attempt to ask through a downpour of giggles. I can't seem to hold it in. Monty doesn't get the joke. Looking frustrated and distracted, Monty swam away through the crowd. I wished him well. Once again, I'm swept up in a whirlwind of mass hysteria for a couple of loud electronic minutes. When I finally get bored of shaking what my mother gave me, I started to look for the guys. With so many people packed into one big room, it was like looking for a needle in an industrial-looking haystack. At first, I thought it would be smartest to try and find Monty. To my dismay, this only resulted in me bothering a few unsuspecting brunettes waiting for their boyfriends. Bald, I told myself confidently. I can find Ian if I only look at the bald ones. I was doing exactly that when Monty found me. This time, Ian was with him. "Where's Vern?" the odd couple asked me. Monty was holding the recently recovered satchel close to his chest. "Probably at the bar," I told him honestly, and Monty smacked an open palm comically into his face. On his lips, I could read the words, "I should have known." Working our way through the school of human fish, I feel like a little kid running some bizarre obstacle course. The bar is crowded, of course, and I can tell finding Vern won't be easy. I scan the silhouette shapes of people, one by one, moving down the row slowly and carefully. Finally, I see a silhouette I recognize, which couldn't be said for the young woman Vern was currently chatting with. Based entirely on her silhouette, she must have been a supermodel. The three of us stopped a short distance away from him, not wanting to cock-block our dear friend any more than we had to. Watching Vern spit some game, huddled in a small group a few feet away, we probably looked more like little boys than ever. With all of us watching her, Vern's mystery lover threw her head back and let out a good, honest laugh. I couldn't hear it very well, but we all knew what it meant. Somehow, against all odds, Vern was charming her. Perhaps she wasn't interested in playing hard to get. Perhaps she was just the kind of girl who, like the villain in a Shakespeare play, a giant hulking tower of testosterone slinked out of the darkness to defend his prize. We couldn't have warned Vern in time if we wanted to, and before anyone could do anything, Vern was violently knocked off his stool and onto the floor. We leapt forward to help him up, but by the time we were close enough to help, we were holding him back instead. Mr. Muscles simply ignored him, treating Vern like a fly he had already swatted. Thankfully, he didn't want to waste his time by fighting Vern, some scrappy little kid from Alberta. To Vern, this whole ordeal confirmed that Mr. Muscles was just a, quote, quivering little fucking pussy. As we dragged Vern out through the front doors and headed back to the van, The whole world suddenly felt shuffled. We're passing a joint around in some random city park after Vern informed us several times just how hard he would have kicked that dude's ass. It would have been quite the bloodbath, according to him. Without the bright lights and loud music to distract me, I was wondering about the magic bag Monty had almost lost. Wondering what Monty might be hiding somewhere in one of those pockets, and if I dared to ask him about it. With more than a little liquid courage sloshing around my stomach, I figured if I didn't ask him now, I might not find the courage later on. Any other fun stuff in there? I asked Monty, pointing at the shoulder bag slung around one of his shoulders. Depends on how much fun you're after, Monty told me cryptically. Can I see? Vern asked him humbly. Monty looked over at Ian, and together they seemed to think it over before answering him. You won't freak out? Monty asked us skeptically, and we assured him that we wouldn't. Again, he seemed to pause and carefully consider revealing all his secrets. Finally coming to a decision, he dumped the satchel and its magic out onto the grass so we all could see. The small pile of items laying on the dark green grass looked about as far from magic as it gets. A few scuffed up white lighters, a fair-sized collection of around 15 joints, some pocket change, a pack of juicy fruit gum, a small tin of MDMA Altoids, and a small Ziploc bag of gnarled purple mushrooms made up most of the pile. Most confusing of all, it seemed along with all those random items, Monty had sprinkled in a handful of small gold bullets into his satchel. Looking at the small pile of items for a second time, I could see the barrel of the pistol clear as day underneath the lighters and Ziploc bags. Fully grasping what I was looking at, I felt nothing but the cold and detached calmness of an EMT shoveling pieces of what used to be somebody's family member into a gurney. My stomach instantly bunched itself into a tight fist, and I had to fight the ridiculous urge to laugh. Part of me wonders if anyone else has noticed it yet, or if everyone else has noticed it already and found it completely uninteresting. That microsecond of realization seems to play out forever, and I feel every second of that infinity before Vern finally speaks up. Holy shit! You've had that the whole time? Vern asked Monty, and shifted his gaze to the gun. I guess so, Monty explained weakly. Better safe than sorry, you know? As Monty said this, I was amazed to see Vern slowly nodding in agreement. You never know, Vern muttered almost hopelessly. Already, Monty is carefully repacking his bag. Is he embarrassed? Ian grabs the joints from Vern and takes this deep, slow hit before coughing a yellow gob of spit somewhere into the darkness. I'm doing the best I can to forget about the gun, and to my surprise, it's working when the joint makes its way back to me. Soon enough, I'm feeling totally shuffled.